I will get this underway and making sure that I got everything. All right, so I'll start explaining why did I create my website and a little bit about me. So for those that oh, sorry, I need to, in Zoom, I need to share the PowerPoint. I was almost forgetting about that. So share the screen and share sound, and that's it. I think now you guys in Zoom can also see the PowerPoint presentation. And any questions during the presentation, if you can put in the comments or in the chat, I'll keep an eye here, and then I will be answering the questions as they appear. So why did I create my website, www.engineersinaustralia.com? That was back in April 2019. So very excited that April 2021 is going to be 2 years of my project, and I'm very happy with the result because I can see a lot of people learning with information that I'm sharing, and more importantly, a lot of engineers, they are getting validated with the information that I'm sharing. Some engineers getting validated without my mentoring, but with information that I'm sharing, and it's all good. The intention when I created this website was never to kind of have a product, but because people were asking me so much about consultancy and other things, I ended up having to squeeze something that I really could do, and certainly being very affordable to you guys. And also my students, I've got 8 students that already applied, and all of the 8 students been approved by Engineers Australia. So I created to share valuable content and information, obviously on the validation, assisting the journey to make a dream to come true, to give a lot of hints for professional accomplishment in Australia, to share the day-to-day of an engineer in Australia. Obviously very limited because I'm a civil engineer, although I work with a lot of types of engineers, but the day-to-day that I share is obviously limited to what I do. But the main goal that I created was to really give you guys a smoother road than mine, because my road was very rough, was very bumpy, because I didn't really have enough information, and I had to I bumped my head many times because just a lack of information available. And a little bit about me. I'm a Brazilian. I was born in Brazil. I'm a civil engineer. I graduated from the Federal University of Paraná State in 1994. So it's been, oh Jesus, it's going to be 27 years that I am graduated. Wow, a bit old now. I've done many post-graduation courses, as probably everyone does, because you gotta be, to be competitive, you gotta have extra courses in your resume. So I did my MBA in logistics from the Getúlio Vargas Foundation. I'm a chartered professional engineer, CPEng, with Engineers Australia, which means that I achieved the next status level in the engineering profession here in Australia. So I can work autonomously. And because I got that in Queensland, I then registered myself with the Board of Professional Engineers of Queensland. So I am RPEQ in the civil category. So it means that I can sign plans within my competency, and I can work autonomously, and I can supervise others as well. I've done other courses in Japan, planning and construction, quality and productivity in Japan as well. I did my graduate certificate in project management in Lille in France. I did an advanced diploma in project management here in Australia. I did a Cert 4 in training and assessment in Australia. I forgot to put, but when I arrived here, I did my diploma of business here in Australia. That was my student visa. And very important for you guys, if you guys have the opportunity, it would be good to do some workplace health and safety training. So I did a Cert 4 in workplace health and safety leadership because I'm a manager of a business, so I need to understand what leaders are expected to do in terms of workplace health and safety. I was, nowadays I don't really have interview panels, but I participated in many interview panels with Engineers Australia for engineers that were already validated and they wanted to become a chartered professional engineer. I had my qualification recognized in 2006, although I started my process in 2005 when I arrived. But it took me between 8 and 10 months until I could get that. So just a second. Where's that? Yeah. And since 2008, I work for the Queensland Department of Transport and Main Roads. And the department has a commercial arm, a commercial business, which is like a construction company. And I'm the operations manager for the metropolitan region of Brisbane operations unit. And I've got about 250 staff where we build and maintain transport infrastructure. Those ones here in Brisbane, those ones that kind of they go to Kangaroo Point or South Bank. Once you can see the Captain Cook Bridge, which is the largest bridge into town. You can see kind of two platforms hanging underneath the bridge. That's us. We actually we lifted the bridge to replace bearings, the support of the bridge, and we are now strengthening the joints. So that's a very complex work that we're doing just to extend the life of that bridge. The bridge has 40 years and very interesting project. I'll probably share with you guys a video that we did with a little bit of the process there. Where's my PowerPoint so I can advance? Yeah, here. So another thing that motivates me, some of you probably already heard this video, but another thing that really motivates me is when I receive good news from my students and good news from people that they follow my channel and they follow my information. And then I can see that really a lot of the time, because I spent a lot of time putting this content together, it's worthwhile and motivates me. This audio I received from Erica, which is one of my students from my mentoring program. And when she got approved, she's a civil engineer, and when she got approved by Engineers Australia, she sent me this audio. Unfortunately, the audio is in Portuguese, but I put a little bit of a subtitle, so I believe that you guys can hear the subtitles. So hopefully the sound will work, and I will just put my headset so I know that you guys can hear.
Gerson, eles responderam, tô chorando de alegria aqui. Eles aprovaram meu diploma, graças a Deus, a minha validação, e aprovaram meus 2 anos de Austrália, mais 6 anos no Brasil. Meu Deus do céu, não tô aguentando de felicidade. Ai, meu Deus, obrigada, não tenho nem como te agradecer. Nossa, muito obrigada, Gerson, você não sabe o quanto que você me ajudou. Depois eu vou até escrever um depoimento no Facebook te agradecendo, porque, nossa, muito obrigada, foi muito essencial, obrigada mesmo.
Yeah, guys, so yeah, she was kind of she was pretty much crying, and when I got that message, I almost cried because, you know, it was so emotional, and she was very dedicated, or she is a very dedicated person, and during the classes and during the the mentoring. She was doing everything that I was asking her to do, doing, redoing, reviewing, thinking about. She did a lot of planning, and she was studying for English. And when I got that message, I felt so good, because I was so happy for her, because she really put a lot of effort. And her case was a bit complicated, but she followed what I asked her to do. That's objective of the mentoring. I identify what is your strength and what is your weakness, and then I say, well, you probably need to focus on this part, and she did, and she got approved. So very happy. Well done, Erica.
Gerson!
And the objective of you guys in this validation process is probably two. The first one is this first letter here. That's the letter of recognition that I'm pretty sure that you will get from Engineers Australia. And that's my letter when I received back in June 2006, saying that my qualifications and my experience was equivalent to a professional engineer or civil engineer here in Australia, and then got the code that I used in my migration process. So pretty much two accomplishments. The first accomplishment is that you then can call yourself an engineer here in Australia because you've been validated by Engineers Australia. And two, because with that code, if you are planning to do a migration process, that is the code and that's the letter that you will provide to the Department of Home Affairs as part of your migration process. Your migration agent probably already told you. Without that letter, you can't even, some migration agents, they don't even put your EOI forward without the recognition. So you get stuck until you get that validation letter. And the other document here is every year I get a certificate because I have to renew every year. This one is from 2011, but I'm CPA since 2009. And this is to demonstrate that I achieved the next level. So it's been more than 10 years that I am working as a chartered professional engineer here in Australia, where I proved that I can work without supervision, I can supervise others, and this allowed me to register as a registered professional engineer of Queensland here in Australia. Those ones that living in New South Wales and those ones living in Victoria, very important, guys, because from 1 July 2021, this year, New South Wales and Victoria, they're going to start their registration process, which means that I think for its 5 categories: civil, mechanical, electrical, structural, and fire safety. So those 5 categories of engineers, they will have to be registered to provide professional engineering services. And it's going to become a criminal offense if you are not registered. So Engineers Australia now and the government in those states, they are doing consultation. There will be a transition period, of course. It's not 1 July, everybody needs to be registered. There will be a transition period to allow engineers to become registered. But for you to become registered, you need to get at least the chartered professional engineer. There are a few other ways to do it, but even this way or the other ways, you gotta have your validation first. If you don't have your validation, you will not get your chartered professional. And between this stage, which is stage 1, and this stage, which is stage 2, it usually takes 3 years. So the earlier you can get your validation, then obviously it's going to be quicker for you to get your chartered professional. And once you get your chartered professional, then you can register it. And why do I say that? Because in those states, because there will be a registration process. Nowadays, there's no registration process. But once the registration process is valid, the companies, like here in Queensland, if you go to a job advertisement, 90% of the jobs, they are requiring you to be a registered professional engineer of Queensland. If you're not a RPEQ, people don't even call you. So in Victoria and New South Wales, once the registration starts, companies will probably going to start and put in as a requirement that you are at least a chartered professional or registered professional in that state. So if you don't have that, your competitiveness is going to be not very good, because there will be other engineers that they will be chartered professionals, they will be registered, and you're probably not even going to get an interview. So it's better to start earlier rather than later. And why to recognize engineering qualification in Australia? To make the dream to come true in working as an engineer in Australia. So there are just few pictures of some of the work that we do. We do bridge. This is a finger joint bridge replacement that we did. Here's some earthworks for pavement that we also did. We also do electrical infrastructure. These are to kind of put signal control boxes for traffic signals, because you guys probably international students, you work as a delivery room or Uber Eats or cleaner or kitchen hand or waiter, whatever, and there's nothing wrong with that. When I arrived in Australia, I worked almost a year working as a cleaner. I was cleaning toilets, 28 toilets every night for 8 months. I did kitchen hand, I removed chewing gum from carpets, I fried chips, I did everything that you guys doing or did. But I studied a lot, and my dream was to work as an engineer. So although there's nothing wrong, as I said, working those jobs, but all the effort that you put in, at one time you want to really go back to your profession and make contribution to the profession. And that's what pretty much why to recognize engineering qualification. Obviously, for personal and professional development, you learn and you can contribute a lot when you work as an engineer. It gives you obviously the opportunity to migrate to Australia. And then it's a beginning of a family transformation. So once you are here as a permanent resident or a citizen, we became citizens in 2009. Then you go everywhere. You don't need to be afraid of not be able to come back, or etc., etc. And most importantly, to offer better conditions to grow my daughter up. She's now 13, and look after my family better. So this picture was one of the New Year's Eve on the Gold Coast. Never seen a lot of people, but there were kind of more than 10,000 people on the beach. And you go there, you don't really have any fears. Obviously there's crime everywhere, but the frequency here is much less. So you can feel safe. We ended up, that was in front of Surfers Paradise, and our hotel was in Broad Beach, another probably 3 kilometers. And we went walking after the fireworks without really having to kind of look behind and worry that somebody was going to kind of rob you or whatever. And when I see my daughter, that she's now 13, and I am able to give her a very good condition for her to grow, to play in the parks. She goes by herself by bus to the school, and I don't really have a lot of concerns. Obviously something can always happen, but in much less frequency. So the content, I'm going to quickly explain the pathways to qualification validation, and that's a summarized review of the whole process. I'm going to talk about the 6 steps for the CDR preparation, and CDR meaning competency demonstration report. which is the process that majority of engineers will have to do, and I will explain when I talk about the pathways. English test, I'm going to talk a little bit about the English test. I'm going to talk about the reports, CPD, the Continuing Professional Development, career episodes, and summary statement. And another important point, I'm going to talk about the Engineers Australia Code of Ethics. And I'm also going to talk about my mentoring program. As I sent the email, I think it was yesterday or Friday, saying that I decided to open a new group, because a lot of people asked me if I was going to open a new group. As you know, I've got my online mentoring program, but I don't really have, it's not open all the time. I open few groups a year. The last group was just in November, so it was already a few months ago. But because a lot of people asked me if I was going to open a new group and we showed interest, I decided to open a new group. It's a big decision because there's a lot of time involved, and time is something that I don't really have a lot. I work nearly between 50 and 55 hours a week in my job, and the spare time I dedicate to my family. I got to do homework with my daughter, and I usually work in this project after 10 p.m. at night until midnight. So there's a lot of commitment, but I think that I can help a lot of engineers in achieving their goals. So I decided to open a new group, and I'm going to open for question and answers. All right, just a little bit about my project as well. Thank you very much, all of you guys. My Facebook page, Engineers in Australia, has got almost more than 2,500 people there. My website got 2,000 subscribers, so when I send an email, the email goes to 2,000 people. I've got 428 subscribers in my YouTube channel. It's not a lot, but you know, probably the content is not very interesting, so there's limited. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please consider subscribing. Once you subscribe and then you turn on the notifications every time that I upload a new video, you will get a notification. And the videos are not just about validation. I've got some videos about, I've got a special series, how to get your first professional job in Australia, where I give hints for you guys to get your first professional job here in Australia. But I've got, I was looking at the statistics of almost 10,000 views, and I've got more than 180 videos in my YouTube channel. So I think in the last year and a half, yeah, that's a lot of time that I put to have those videos there. My Telegram group, I got 814 participants in my Telegram group. If you're not part of my Telegram group, yeah, send me a message and I can send you the link to the group. And in that group, and Telegram is like WhatsApp, I send audios, videos, posts, and reminders in that group. Instagram as well, I've got 1,180 followers. So if you're not following me in Instagram, yeah, put in there. I've got live sessions, and I share a few things about my day-to-day in Instagram as well. So thank you very much for your support. And this QR code here, I believe it's for my YouTube channel. So if you take a picture, it will take to my YouTube channel, and then you can subscribe. So the pathways to qualification validation. Well, this is straight from the Migration Skills Assessment booklet from Engineers Australia. And the diagram has 5 pathways, but actually there is 6. They included one more, but it's not really a pathway, but there is an extra one. So the first one is that your qualification is accredited by Engineers Australia. So you ended up doing a course here in Australia, and your qualification you can pretty much apply straight away, apply under the Australian qualification pathway. The second pathway is under the Washington Accord. Well, actually, to summarize, there's the Washington Accord, the Sydney Accord, and the Dublin Accord. And those accords, they're part of the International Engineering Alliance. And there are about 25 countries that they are signatories to those accords. The only difference between the three accords is that Washington Accord is for professional engineers, Sydney Accord is for engineering technologists, and Dublin Accord is for engineering associates. And if you graduated from a country that is a full signatory to any of those accords, let's say that your country is, say you graduated in United States, for example, and United States is a full signatory, and when you graduated was after the year that they signed or after United States signed the accord. If it is that, then you can apply under the Washington qualification pathway. And this means that pretty much you just need to fill a form, pay the fee, and that's it. So it's a very simplified process because Engineers Australia already assessed those institutions and those countries, and they know that those qualifications are already equivalent to the Australian qualification. The other one, and then the middle one here, which is the fifth pathway under the new booklet, is those ones that are member from the French Institute of Engineers, let's say. If they are part of that institution and graduated from last year, 2020, you can then apply under the Washington Accord. So France is a new member there. But majority of engineers will be under the non-accord or not accredited courses. Because if you have about 25 countries that are signatory to the qualifications, I don't know how many countries in the world, but more than 200. The other 200 countries, they will be under this pathway, which means that you need to apply under the Competency Demonstration Report or the CDR pathway. And that's why I'm going to explain what are the steps or stages for the CDR stages. So the CDR stages, the first step is your personal information. And personal information is your photo, passport photo, your national identification. It could be your passport, it could be your national identity card. Obviously, if it's not in English, you need to translate. If you changed your name, in this case, you're gonna have your change of name document. You gotta provide your CV or resume, and you gotta have your English test showing the minimum scores of each band. And then you go to step number 2. And that's what I say that the validation process is a simple process. It's got 6 steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But although it's simple, unfortunately, it's not easy. Because there are a few, in each step there's always something that's not really easy. In this one, your English test, until you can get the minimum score, perhaps it's not easy. Application step 2 is easy because you just need to nominate your preferred occupational category, either professional engineer, engineering technologist, or engineering associate. And then also you got to choose what occupation are you going to apply under. If it is going to be a civil engineer, mechanical engineer, environmental engineer, industrial engineer, and so on. And then step number 3 is your education documentation. So you're going to prepare your academic certificates, your academic transcripts, and any other relevant academic documentation. So if you've done specialization courses, if you did graduate certificates or graduate diplomas, if you did a master degree, you can include in here. A lot of people, they ask me if they need to translate the full curriculum of your bachelor degree? And the short answer is no. You don't need to. Just your academic transcripts where you have the name of the subjects, how many hours was kind of each subject, how many units, and then the status, if you passed or was credit, a pass, or distinction or high distinction, or even the grade, depending on the country that you graduated. So you don't really need to translate the full curriculum with the description of each subject, unless Engineers Australia they ask you for that. And the fourth step is the skilled employment evidences. So you gotta have sorry, but my camera is actually in front of that. I'll see if I can I can move to the middle here so you guys can have a look. Skilled employment. So you gotta provide evidence of employment if you used your work experience in the career episode. So if you chose one work experience and then you wrote a career episode about that work experience, you need to provide evidence of employment, which means reference letter. If you're going to apply for RSEA, Relevant Skilled Employment Assessment, you will need to provide reference letter from your employer. Or in your CV or resume, if you put that you worked more than 12 months in engineering employment, you also need to provide evidences of employment, even if you didn't write in your career episode. But if you said in your resume that you worked more than 12 months, you need to provide your reference letter. And then the fifth step is your report. And in this step, you've got then three, let's say, sub-reports or three reports under this step. You've got to prepare your CPD, your continuing professional development. You've got to write your 3 career episodes, and you've got to write 1 summary statement. And then once you did everything, once you complete step 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5, the last step is step number 6. It's pretty much your application. You got to go to Engineers Australia website, and then there's a link there, My Portal, where you're going to create an Engineers Australia ID, and that ID is going to be your member ID. If you get approved and you become a member, so that's going to be your ID. And then you upload all your documents, you fill the categories, and you pay the fee. You upload CPD, career episode, summary statement, your resume, your certificates, if you're applying for relevant skilled employment assessment, you will need to upload also your evidences of employment, which is pretty much primary documents and secondary documents according to the booklet. And once you pay the fee and do everything, there's a little bit of a checklist. The system generates a checklist, so everything is there. And once everything is correct, they ask you if you want to do fast track as well. Remember that fast track is when you pay another $300 or so, and Engineers Australia will allocate an assessor a little bit quicker, so your process can be finalized quicker. So instead of taking like 12 or 16 weeks, it's probably going to take between 7 or 8 weeks, around that period. It's what I've seen so far. Just going to move this back to the side there. Yeah. So English test scores, remember that you have 4 bands. You got listening, reading, writing, and speaking. And you can do IELTS. You got to have at least 6 in all bands. You've got option of the TOEFL, 12 in listening, 13 in reading, 21 in writing, 18 in speaking. And you also have the option to do PTE, which is pretty much 50 in all bands. A lot of people, they ask me a question. If you guys saw in Facebook and many other, maybe your school let you know, PTE did recently assessment or reassessment on the equivalence with the IELTS. And a lot of people ask me, oh, Gerson, yeah, PTE did an assessment, and apparently now equivalent to 6 in IELTS is 48 in PTE. So if I got 48, can I apply? So unfortunately not, because you gotta go what the agencies they are asking. If you are applying with Engineers Australia, you gotta go to Engineers Australia site, get the booklet and see what is the requirement. If Engineers Australia hasn't changed yet, it means that the minimum scores still remain the same. So in this case, PTE, you go to the booklet, it's still 50 in all bands. Even if you apply for migration, I was speaking with a migration agent and they said now it's still 50 because it's equivalent to, that's the old equivalence. What PTE did, they reassessed and they suggesting that change. If other agencies are going to follow that suggestion, that's up to each agency. So apparently for lower scores is going to be better. I think it's going to, from 50 is going to be like 48, equivalent to 6. But then IELTS equivalent to 8, I think used to be, is it 79? I think before was 79. But then with the new equivalence is going to be like, I think 84 or something. So it's going to be a little bit harder to get the higher scores. Looks like, but so far it hasn't changed. So yeah, and then a lot of people ask me which English test is easier. Is it IELTS, is it TOEFL, or is it PTE? So, and I keep saying sorry, but when I did it, I did IELTS. I didn't really have another option. Was just IELTS. Engineers Australia was just accepting IELTS. And because I had a good English when I did it, I didn't really find difficult to get the minimum of 6. But some people, they prefer IELTS because it's more structured, they're more academic. Some people are more academic than others. PTE, you eliminate the human element. But a lot of people, they told me that when they did the PTE, was in a room with 10, 11 other people, and because it's computer, people start to shout and talk really loud. And if you're not the one that kind of talking loud or shouting, your microphone can actually pick up someone else's kind of responses. So yeah, so there's, you gotta do and you gotta see by yourself. Just another thing about English. A lot of people, they ask me, oh, Jerson, I don't really have the English test already. Do I need to wait until I get the English test scores and then start the validation? And that's one of the mistakes that if you watch video number 2, you probably saw me talking about this mistake. I think it's a mistake you not starting your validation, just waiting your English test. And the reason is that your validation is probably going to take a few months. If it's not 3 months, it's going to take 6 months, depending on your priority. And during this time, if you have an intermediate English level, you will be reading, you will be writing, you will be interpreting a lot of technical articles, you will be studying technical standards, you will be studying legislation, you will be drafting the reports, and it is some sort of writing, studying as well. So it means that after 3 or 6 months of reading, listening, interpreting, writing, and speaking, you can even, when you follow my weekly sessions, although my English is not perfect, but listening any English is better than listening nothing. you will be, your ears, your listening will obviously improve as well. So in my opinion, after 3 or 6 months, you will naturally improve your English level. And then once you get pretty much almost everything done in the documentation, then you can do your English test, and I'm pretty sure that you will get better. Obviously, if you're studying English, you keep studying English. But my students, majority of them, they started to they started the validation process before the English test, and they were the ones that they were telling me that, oh, Jersey, because of the classes and because our discussions and my mentoring is everything in English, they ended up improving, and by the end they ended up doing the English test and they got very good scores. So have a think about it. So the CPD is the first report of the few reports that you're going to write. The continuing professional development. This is a very simple document and easy. So that's a simple and easy, so there's no problem with that. It's pretty much just a list of the learning or development events that you did since you graduated. So very important, guys. Since you graduated, yeah, Jason, but when I was studying, I participated in a workshop. Yeah, sorry, but it doesn't count, because in GES Australia, we'll see when you graduated, and then because you have the date in this document, CPD, if there is a date that is before your graduation, they're not going to consider. So you got to think about, after you graduated, what have you done in terms of your learning. So a very simple document. I encourage you guys to today create a spreadsheet. A spreadsheet, 5 columns: title, date, duration, venue, and organizer. And you start documenting your CPD. Go back to when you graduated. I know that some people graduated many years ago. It's going to be a little bit more difficult, but try to include at least in every year. Try to remember few events. It's just going to be 1 page, so you can't really put everything if you have a lot, but create a spreadsheet and start populating that spreadsheet. So what sort of events can you use? There are 6 categories pretty much. Any post-graduation courses, specialization courses, short courses, you can put in there. For example, I use my example. I did, after I graduated, I did my post-graduation course in Japan in planning and construction. So the title would be a graduate diploma in planning and construction. The date was between I think it was May 1997 until March 1998. So duration was 10 months. Venue was the Gifu Planning and Design Center in Japan, and the organizer was the same place, Gifu Planning and Design Center in Japan. So simple as that. You don't need more than that. And then you keep populating that. The other category that you could use, if you participated in conferences as a presenter or just as a participant. Other events, if you participated in workshops, if you attended short courses, let's say, for example, that you attended working at heights. Probably some of you guys, you could be working on site. If you're a civil engineer, if you did a working at heights or working at confined space, I've done those. You can even put those tickets. I got my ticket working at heights, etc., etc. If you attended seminars, discussion groups, meetings technical meetings that you attended after you graduated, technical inspections or technical visits, so that you learned something, so you can include in your CPD. Also, preparation and presentation of course material. Sometimes at work, let's say that you're electrical engineer, and then you were presenting the benefits of replacing street lighting that currently they use in mercury bulbs. You're going to replace by LED lighting. And then you were explaining to other engineers or explaining to your managers the benefits of replacing that sort of lighting. So if you did a PowerPoint or if you just presented your report in a meeting, you can actually use that as your CPD. So if you prepared and presented something in conferences or symposiums, if you wrote a white paper, you can do that. If you finish your master's degree, you can include in that as well. Another category is the services to the engineering profession. So pretty much voluntary work. Another my example is when I was participating in interviews with Engineers Australia, interviewing engineers and reviewing their career episodes and everything. It was my volunteer work to Engineers Australia. I can include that. Actually, Engineers Australia gave me letters proving that I could claim like 5 hours of CPD because I had to review career episodes, I had to study, I had to develop questions, I attended interviews, etc., etc., etc. So I got a letter saying that I could use 5 hours. In this stage, you guys don't need to demonstrate minimum hours. A lot of people, they ask me, oh, Jerry, so is there a minimum CPD hours that you need to demonstrate? In the validation process, there's no minimum hours. So sometimes you read the website, Engineers Australia website, and in some parts they ask you 150 hours in the last 3 years, but that is after you validate it. If you want to become a chartered professional engineer, you need, when you apply for the chartered professional engineer, you need to demonstrate 150 hours in the last 3 years, and there are some minimum in each category, minimum and maximum. So then you got to pay a little bit more attention. But at this stage in the validation, you don't need to demonstrate minimum hours. And the other category is private study. So this is probably where you will need to probably probably need to use this category, because that's how you actually can build your CPD from now. So if you're going to apply for your validation in 6 months time, because you're going to start now, and then in 6 months time you will be ready, you can start building up CPD from now, and I encourage you guys to do it. I've got when I get questions, I'm just going to park the questions, and then I'm going to answer the questions towards the end. So I don't really interrupt here, but you guys can keep sending the questions. And thanks, Marky, in Facebook, that you sent me a question. I'll be answering pretty soon. So private study, books, journals, manuals, etc. Very, very important for you guys to go to perhaps Engineers Australia website, and there are some technical articles. Please read those articles related to your field and fill out your spreadsheet. Keep records of your learnings. If you are, it's not just book, journals, and manuals. You can go after technical specifications in your area. You can go to legislation, for example, safety legislation or environmental legislation. You can read that legislation, codes of practice, and then that time of private study is part of your CPD. Very important for you guys to keep that. And then that's the first report of your reports. The second one, I'm just going to answer the question that Marky sent. He asked the question about the CPD. For seminar or presentation, do you need to provide a certification for a proof? That's a good question, Marky. Actually, for the CPD, Engineers Australia, they state that you do not need to provide certificates of your CPD events. But obviously, you're not going to invent, you're not going to make up an event, because although Engineers Australia say that you don't need to provide a copy of your certificate of your events, but if Engineers Australia, they suspect that you're kind of making up or you haven't done that particular event, they may ask you to send copies once you apply for the assessment. So obviously, if you haven't done it, don't claim that you did it, because if you claim something that you didn't do, and if Engineers Australia ask for proof and you don't have it, it constitutes breach of its unethical behavior, and that's a breach of the code of ethics, and they can ban you for breaching the code of ethics. So don't really do it. Oh yeah, Jerson, but site visits, how can I prove that? If you have a calendar entry during site visits, you usually take photos of whatever you're going to visit. So that would be enough for you to demonstrate that you actually did it. As a CP Eng, I was already subject to audits. Engineers Australia, they audit CP Engs every so on. So a few years ago, they asked me, Jerson, you're now subject to an audit, a random audit. Please send me copies of your certificates and please send evidences of your CPD. So, and that's what you gotta do. You just then make copies of your certificates. I printed my calendar entries. I did a document with photos of my inspections, and I sent, and they said, oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, thank you very much. Is that okay, Mikey? Yeah, I think I answered your question. Yeah. So the other part, the report, are the career episodes, and this is probably the curly bit of your validation. A lot of people, they get stuck in the career episodes. So a career episode, I'll shift again myself here so you guys can read it. A career episode is an account of your engineering education and a work experience, and each career episode focuses upon a specific period or distinct aspects of your engineering activity. So each career episode, 3 in total, must focus on a different period or aspect of your engineering activity. Each episode should focus on how you applied your engineering knowledge and skills in the nominated occupation. So you gotta write 3 career episodes. You may base your career episodes upon an engineering task undertaken as part of your educational program, a project you have worked on or are currently working on, a specific position that you occupied or currently occupy. In this case, the career episode must comprise more than a mere duty statement, and a particular engineering problem that you were required to solve. One observation is in this first item here, guys. A lot of people, they think that if they are going to use, let's say, a final assignment of university, in Brazil they call TCC, a lot of people think that they just need to copy and paste the report and then put in the career episode. That's not gonna work, because when you write your career episode, you're going to write your career episode addressing the 16 competencies that you're going to see in the summary statement. And sometimes when you write your final assignment has one objective. And when you write your career episode, your objective when you write your career episode is to demonstrate the 16 competencies. So although the content could be similar, but the emphasis and how you write your career episode is different. So don't make that mistake, please. And you can, if you don't really have work experience, or if your work experience is not really good, you can use just your academic work as part, your academic experience as part of your career episodes. So you can write 3 career episodes based on your academic experience. And please make sure that you use complex engineering problems or complex engineering projects. Engineers Australia, for them to accept your career episodes, your experiences, they cannot really be very simple. If they are very simple, they're probably going to write you back asking you to rewrite your career episode because your experience is not really complex and does not really meet the requirements for a professional engineer. You run the risk then that they may say, well, this sort of complexity is not really for a professional engineer. It could be for engineering technologies, or it could be for an engineering associate, and sometimes not even that. So just make sure that you choose complex engineering problems. And also this is written in the booklet, so you really need to read very carefully what the booklet is asking you. And this is very important, guys, so you guys don't really fall in the trap to be caught by plagiarism. So career episodes must be based on work conducted personally by you and must be written entirely in your own words. Presenting work conducted by others as your own and or using other people's words, templates, career episodes, online sources, etc. is considered plagiarism, and it's a violation of Engineers Australia Code of Ethics. And this carries significant penalties, including the rejection of the application, imposition of a 12-month ban. Actually is between now 12 to 36 months. So you can actually be banned for up to 3 years, depending on, I have to update this presentation here, up to 3 years if you get caught by plagiarism. And Engineers Australia also is going to report your details to the Department of Home Affairs for further investigation action. That's because obviously the validation process could be part of a migration process, and unethical behavior is probably a breach of character as well. And some of you may or may not know, but when the Department of Home Affairs, they are assessing your visa application, character assessment is part of the assessment. And if you have something that's not really good in your character, perhaps the migration department can even kind of reject your visa application because they found that your character is not good. So just be careful. I know that when you Google CDR or competency demonstration report, there are a few, or actually many companies that they actually provide that service to write for you. You give them a curriculum or you give them a summary of your project and they write everything on your behalf. And they also promise you a plagiarism-free report. But this report is like buying a fake product. You know that's fake, and the seller gives you a certificate of authenticity. So it doesn't really worth anything. So don't run the risk. Again, the process is simple. Unfortunately, it's not very easy. And it's not easy because it requires time. It requires dedication. And if you're not really willing to put some time and effort, perhaps now is not the time for you. Don't risk to be caught by plagiarism, engaging companies that will write for you. And be careful when you get career episodes from other people as well. And then you ask, yeah, but just so I can have a look and use as a model so I can write. Every time that you read something, you're probably going to use a very similar format. You could use the same words, and you run the risk of, getting caught. So please don't do that, because you can be banned for up to 3 years, and then it can ruin your plans here in Australia. And that's another reason why I created my mentoring program, because in my mentoring program, I teach you guys how you need to write. But you guys need to write by yourself. A lot of people ask me if I can write. I said no, because that's plagiarism. What I can do, I can teach you how to write a very solid and strong report. And I give the basic principles, and then you gotta do by yourself. And if you do by yourself using your own words, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to be caught by plagiarism, because you did by yourself. So the summary statement, I'll move that back to here. So I said that we've got 16 competencies to be addressed. And for each competency, you need to number the paragraphs in the career episodes. And the 16 competencies, it's important to say that majority of them, they are very technical. They're very, very raw engineering content. So you gotta really make sure that, and you have to demonstrate competencies like design, calculation, analysis, application of engineering fundamentals. So if you don't really have especially work experience, I'm a civil engineer, and after I graduated, I did a lot of, house refurbishments, shop refurbishments, as engineers they do, implementation of quality systems. That's a job of engineers, for example. But unfortunately, those sort of work, they are not considered to be professional civil engineer here in Australia. So I've seen so many people, and many people, they ask me questions. Oh, Gerson, I wrote about this. That's what I did in Brazil as a civil engineer, and Engineers Australia rejected my career episode. Can you help me? I say, well, one, I can't because I don't have time. And two, you probably forgot to plan a little bit ahead before you start writing, because if you read the booklet, if you read the definitions of ANZ SEO definition, you know that those sort of things, they're not really part of, it doesn't really match with the definition, so you shouldn't really be writing that. So you got to be careful. And for each competence, you need to number the paragraphs in the career episode, because the summary statement, pretty much the 16 competencies are listed there. I've got an example in the next slide, and then actually I'm going to show a little bit later, then it's better. And then you got to list the reasons why you believe you have demonstrated that competency. That's going in the middle column. And the summary statement template is the only template that I suggest you guys to use. When you go to Engineers Australia website, there's actually a summary statement template for professional engineer, engineering technologist, and engineering associate. It's a Word document, and that's the only template that I advise you guys to use. And you just need to do one summary statement for the 3 career episodes. So you don't need to do one summary statement for each career episode. You just need to do one, and then you kind of compile the competencies of the 3 career episodes in just one summary statement. And please don't underestimate the summary statement. The summary statement, when you have the first look, looks pretty easy, looks kind of that's not important. But the summary statement is one of the most important documents, because the summary statement is going to guide the assessor why you believe you're competent in that competency, and where the assessor can find evidences of that competencies in the career episodes. So if you do it wrong, the assessor is not going to find the evidences, and therefore you run the risk of having your career episode rejected. So that's pretty much from the booklet, you can see. So these are the competencies. Yeah, P 1.1, 1.2, and then 2.1, 2.2. There's a few more there, so 16 in total. And then if that is the competency, in the middle column, you got to write why you believe you are competent in that. And although it doesn't really have a lot of room, But here, because it's a Word document, you can write a lot. And I actually suggest you to write anything between 70 to perhaps 200 words in this middle column for each competency. So if you think about, let's say, 100 words for each competency, you have 16 competencies. So just in this middle column, you will write about 1,600 words. So it's quite a long document. My summary statement had, I think, 5 pages. So, and here you need to number the paragraphs. Every paragraph that you believe that matches with this competency, you gotta include in here. So obviously, it's not very easy. I've got one module in my mentoring in the classes that I teach how you kind of prepare everything for when you write your summary statement. You actually can write it very easily. The CDR process is pretty much about planning and preparation. The more planning and preparation you do, easier is going to be when you are writing, and more objective is going to be when you are writing, because you don't want to waste time. It takes a lot of time for you to write. In the career episodes, there's a minimum of 1,000 words and maximum of 2,500 words each career episode. I advise you guys and advise my students to write close to the maximum, 2,500 words each career episode, because then you can demonstrate really well all competencies. So the Code of Ethics of Engineers Australia, just briefly, again, very important. I advise you guys to go to the Engineers Australia website and then have a read on the Code of Ethics from November 2019. So the Code of Ethics is based on 4 pillars: demonstrate integrity, practice competently, exercise leadership, and promote sustainability. And under each of the pillars, there are several other items that they are the basis of each pillar. So I actually have one entire module in my mentoring that I just talk about the Code of Ethics, and I give a lot of examples of if you have done this, you can use under this competency. Pretty much competency 3.1 is the one that covers Code of Ethics. And I believe that's pretty much the end of the review of the whole process, because after you do everything, then you can go to my portal and then you can upload everything. You can fill the blanks, you can pay the fee, and then happy days, you can apply. So I've got another question here in Facebook from Eber. Hello, if you are, just going to, that's a quite long question. That's a question here. Eber is saying, if you are a mechanical engineer from a foreign country, but you studied a mastership in mechanical engineering from a recognized university in Australia, for example, Central Queensland University, do you still need to make the assessment with Engineers Australia? Yeah, that's a very good question, Eber. I actually asked that question to Engineers Australia, because a lot of people ask me the question, and obviously I don't really know everything. And what Engineers Australia, and when people, they ask me a lot of questions, I send them an email, and the guys are very good in Engineers Australia, you know, you send an email with questions and they answer it very promptly. So when I ask that question, you can recognize straight away your master's degree. If you did a master's degree, which is recognized by Engineers Australia, you can become a member, I believe, using your master's degree. The only thing is that you cannot use that in your migration process. So if you're already a permanent resident, and if you want to become a member, you can use your Australian master's degree to register yourself or to become a member of Engineers Australia. But if you are still going to do your migration process, Engineers Australia said that although you can become a member with your masters, for you to apply for a migration, the recognition needs to be using your bachelor degree. So if you did your bachelor degree in a foreign country, for migration purposes, you still need to validate your bachelor degree. If you are already a permanent resident, or if you're temporary and then you just need to validate because you don't have intention to stay here, but you just want to become a member, so you can put in a resume, or your company is asking you to become a member, then you can recognize, become a member with your master's degree. Okay, so now I'm going to, we went to the half pretty much, and I'm just going to give information, as I said in my email last Friday, together with video number 3. I decided to open, I'm very excited with that, because I decided to open a new group of my validation formula online mentoring program. And why am I excited? Because I know that with people signing up for the mentoring program, I will have, in a very short time, I will have more colleagues, engineers here in Australia validated, because I'm fairly confident that my program will help you immensely for you to get approved by Engineers Australia. So what I'm going to cover, what is this mentoring program? How does it work? Actually including 9 bonuses in this mentoring program. How much will it cost? What's the warranty of this mentoring program? And what are the benefits in doing it? So, but before that, I would like to tell you guys a very quick story. And this is a story of the 2 young people. And I don't know if you heard about this story or not, but when I read this story, I thought, well, I think the moral of the story I can use with my audience, because some of you may be thinking, yeah, should I start now? Should I start later? So just bear with me. I'm going to start with a very short story. It's going to take just a few minutes. And this story was written by Martin Conroy from the Wall Street Journal. So it's not my story. It's written by Martin Conroy. I give credits to who created the story. And the story said something like this. 25 years ago, 2 young men went to the same university. I think I've got a PowerPoint. Let's see if I can share this, because I think it's going to be easier for you guys. I'm going to stop sharing this. If you don't understand my English, you can actually then read that, because I know that my English is not that good. I will see if it's going to Facebook and Instagram. Looks like it didn't go to Facebook and Instagram. So what I will do, I need to, I need to change here to this one. Yeah, I think now it went. I think it went now. Hopefully it, yes, I think it went. Yeah. So 25 years ago, 2 young men went to the same university. And they were very similar. They both got good grades. They were both good people. And like any other recent graduate, They both had ambitious dreams for the future. And recently, the two young men returned to university for the 25-year reunion. And they were still very similar. The two had married, the two had 3 children, and believe it or not, the two ended up going to the same company after graduation, and they were still there after 25 years. But there was only one difference. I actually gotta check if you guys are hearing, because I haven't checked that yet. Because sometimes I change things and then you guys cannot hear. Yeah, I think you can. Yeah. Just a difference between them. Yeah, you guys can hear. Good. One was the manager of a small department of the company, and the other was the president of the company. So what made this difference? Have you ever thought, just as I thought, what could make this kind of difference in people's lives? What are the decisions? What are the turns that make this kind of difference? So how about if there was a formula that when you learn, you can actually change the path of your validation journey that can completely transform the way you will prepare the documentation of your CDR, the way you would think and write your career episodes and the summary statement? Well, I can tell you, I have the formula. I'm Gerson Aida, and for the last 10 years, I've been interviewing engineers, reviewing career episodes, so they could move forward and take the next step in the professional engineering journey. And now I'm teaching this formula, and the students are already getting the results. They have managed to overcome their fears and are writing their reports confidently towards the ultimate goal, which is to get Engineers Australia approval and be recognized as engineers here in Australia. And I already have several success stories. Actually, I have 8 already. Starting with Leila, a Brazilian civil engineer who lives in Tasmania, who submitted the CDR application in December 2019 and was approved in January 2020. And now with this positive result, allowed her and her family to apply for the visa here in Australia, which is the beginning of their life transformation. The second success story is Walter, a Brazilian environmental engineer, who was approved in April 2020. Then it was Bernardo, a civil engineer, who was approved in May 2020. And more recently in August, Cristiano, civil engineer, who was approved. And Rolfenberg, mechanical engineer, approved by Engineers Australia. Erica, she gave us that testimony in the beginning, that audio. A civil engineer approved by Engineers Australia, who gave us that emotional audio in the beginning. Ricardo, a production engineer approved by Engineers Australia in December 2020. And Duda, a civil structural draftsperson, approved by Engineers Australia in December 2020 as an engineering associate. And I did an interview with Leila, and it's very inspiring to hear her success story. So I'm going to, I think I forgot to tick the sound. I'm just going to stop sharing this and I'm going to share again. Yeah. So going to go there. So we're going to be inspired by her experience, and it's only going to be 6 minutes and 17 seconds. It's in Portuguese, but there is subtitles as well. So I'm going back to where the audio is. So I'm going to stop sharing this, and I'm going to share the other one. Where is this one? All right. Just a second, guys. I'm gonna do a little bit of a muck around. Yeah, that's the one. Okay. So hopefully it will work.
Oi, Gerson, obrigada pelo convite. É um prazer estar aqui falando contigo, que me deu todo esse suporte para conseguir essa, esse reconhecimento da minha profissão como engenheiro civil aqui pelo Engineers Austrália. Então, eu comecei a tentar olhar os requisitos no,
Yeah, I think it's
no
working.
site do Engineers Austrália, li todo o booklet e tentei, me programei com todas as atividades que eu tinha que fazer, os documentos que eu precisava reconhecer, tudo prontinho. Só que quando chegou na hora de escrever os episódios de carreira e entender aquele summary statement, eu me enrolei, não consegui, fiquei assim, patinei naquele negócio, eu pensei, bom, eu preciso de ajuda. Porque eu não sou do tipo de pessoa assim muito fácil para pedir ajuda. Eu sempre acho que eu consigo tudo sozinho. Isso foi um grande problema, porque eu demorei muito para reconhecer que eu precisava de ajuda. Enfim, daí eu comecei a buscar, procurar informação na internet. Só que o que acontece? Eu tinha visto bastante aqueles casos de ser banido por plágio, por, por várias coisas, de pessoas que contratam serviços de empresas para escrever os seus episódios da carreira. Isso está muito claro no site do Engineers Australia. Então, eu tinha medo que o teu trabalho não me esclarecesse essas dúvidas.
Que fosse só uma repetição daquilo que...
Que fosse só uma repetição do que já estava escrito lá. Esse era um receio. E tem uma outra coisa que a gente aprende aqui na Austrália, é que o tempo aqui, a gente consegue muito mais visualizar o que tempo é dinheiro aqui do que no Brasil.
Exatamente.
Porque aqui a gente ganha por hora. Então, cada hora a mais do que a gente perde fazendo uma coisa que a gente não tem experiência, não, que assim, com a ajuda do outro a gente faria muito mais rápido, a gente fica ali se debatendo, tentando fazer sozinho, sabe? Então, assim, eu acho que aqui vale muito mais o tempo porque pedir ajuda, sabe? Eu acho que é um bom investimento. Enfim, então eu decidi e fiquei muito feliz. Foi uma grande, assim, uma decisão muito feliz que eu tive.
Legal.
Realmente, o teu trabalho realmente conseguiu me ajudar muito, respondeu às minhas dúvidas, tu conseguiu, no material que naquelas aulas, enfim, que a gente fazia, teve muitos exemplos de como que eu poderia justificar e cumprir cada requisito. Então, assim, foi fundamental. Eu assim, com todo o material que tu fornece, com os encontros, aquilo tudo, eu me senti, assim, super preparada, que eu tinha tudo que eu precisava para começar. Então, eu só precisava realmente sentar e fazer, sabe? Foi essa sensação, porque antes não. Antes eu sentava, olhava e não sabia nem por onde começar. Então, assim, o teu material me ajudou, assim, muito, porque eu sabia, eu tive aquela tranquilidade, assim, agora é só sentar e fazer, que não é uma coisa fácil.
Não.
Precisa de várias horas, precisa de dedicação, você precisa abrir mão de várias coisas, de estar com a família, de passear, de fazer outras coisas, e até mesmo de trabalhar para fazer isso. Mas eu sentia que eu tinha todos os recursos, então, e tinha material gravado, os slides que eu podia passar, repassar, voltar, tinha vários exemplos ali, enquanto eu participava das aulas, daquelas 3 que a gente fez, eu ia anotando, já ia tendo dicas, assim, ideias de como que eu ia justificar endereçar, então, cada requisito. Então, aquilo ali eu já tinha tudo material, já estava com as ideias muito, muito frescas e tinha todo o suporte do teu material.
Legal.
Então, foi muito, muito mais fácil. Foi no mesmo dia, foi algumas horas depois que eu submeti. Eu até achei que, pela rapidez, eu achei que eles estavam pedindo mais coisas. Eu fiquei até com medo de abrir o e-mail.
E na hora que você abriu o e-mail, que leu assim...
Nossa, foi assim, um alívio, parecia assim, 50 quilos das minhas costas, sabe? Foi muito bom, uma sensação assim maravilhosa. Bom, assim, pelo que eu entendi agora, não é só bom para o visto, que obviamente isso é um pré-requisito para tu aplicar, que no meu caso, eu estou aplicando para o 491, mas ele te dá a possibilidade de abrir portas para realmente a gente trabalhar com o que a gente estudou, sabe? Com o que a gente realmente gosta. Então, agora eu sei aqui na Tasmânia, com esse reconhecimento, né? Eu consigo trabalhar como engenheiro civil. Então, me abre portas para muitas para muitas empresas, para muitas vagas, e eu acho que isso eu acho que faz bem até para autoestima, sabe? Porque agora eu sou engenheiro civil na Austrália também.
Engenheiro civil na Austrália.
Exatamente, exatamente. Não, é muito bom e importante, sabe? Vale todo o esforço. Na verdade, Gerson, sou eu que tenho que te agradecer mais uma vez. Sem o teu apoio, eu tenho certeza que eu não teria conseguido. Não teria mesmo, sabe? E foi fundamental, tu foi muito atencioso, muito competente, super ético desde o início. Então, e eu comentei até num outro encontro que a gente fez com o pessoal, que nesse processo todo, por mais do tempo da correria e tudo, eu tinha uma tranquilidade de saber que eu não seria banida por plágio, ou que eu teria qualquer problema nesse sentido, sabe? E eu tinha a tranquilidade de saber que o que foi feito fui eu que fiz, sabe? Então, isso foi muito importante para o processo. Eu acho que é isso que o pessoal que está querendo vir, querendo trabalhar como engenheiro aqui, a gente tem que pensar muito nesse aspecto, sabe? Então, obrigada, e foi muito bom ter tido o teu apoio durante esse tempo todo.
Yeah, that was certainly very inspiring. Yeah, thanks, Layla. Yeah, she's also very, very dedicated student. She was part of my first group, actually. So it's pretty good. Sorry, I think that was muted. Yeah, just saying that Layla was a student of my first group, and she was certainly very dedicated. And she applied for that 491 visa, and she got her approval. So yeah, which is really good. Just going to check if you guys can still hear. Yeah, I think you can. Yeah. All right. So I think Instagram still can hear. I think. I believe you can, hopefully. Yeah. So hopefully Instagram still can hear. Yeah. Well, Instagram looks like it went. It didn't. Yeah, it looks like it's not here in Instagram. Can you guys hear on Instagram or not? Instagram looks like it. Yeah, you can. Yeah. Good, thank you. All right, so I'll keep going. So I got a few questions here that people sent in the chat in Zoom. So the first one, Maria, she was asking, Gerson, I will not use my profession as an immigration purpose. Where I need to register to work as an environmental engineer? That's a very good question, Maria, and thanks for the question. If you are not going to use as part of immigration purposes, the bad news is that you still gotta do your validation, but it's not the migration skills assessment. Engineers Australia has a process called Stage 1 of membership eligibility. So this assessment is pretty much the same as the migration skills assessment. You still gotta do your CPD, you still gotta do your 3 career episodes, and you still gotta do your summary statement, and you still gotta do your resume and everything else. The only thing is that when you apply under the Stage 1 of membership eligibility, if you are approved, you cannot use that assessment as part of any migration process. What's the difference? There's a slight difference in terms of the English test. If you are working as an engineer for like 1 year, you can get a letter from your employer saying that you are proficient in English, and Engineers Australia may accept that letter instead of you providing an English test. So that's one difference. And the other difference is that the maximum number of each career episode is not 2,500 words, and it's going to be 2,000 words. But the 16 competencies are still the same, and the content is pretty much the same content. So unfortunately, even if you're not going to use as immigration purposes, you still need to do your validation process. Yeah, I've got few students in my mentoring group that they are already permanent residents, and they're just doing for stage 1 membership. The other question from Carol, she's asking, MBA in project management out of Australia could also be included in the CPD. Yes, you can, Carol. Although project management is not really very technical in terms of engineering, but actually there is some competencies in 1 or 2 competencies within the 16 competencies that you can use project management experience. Because engineers probably they do technical work, but they also do project management work. So if you did an MBA in project management, you can include in your education documentation, and you can also use as part of your CPD. That's a good news. Maria was asking as well, in my case, I cannot see any complex projects for me to write. I worked as an environmental analyst in wind farm projects, and my job was inspection and execute some environmental plans. Which way should I go? Yeah, that's a very good question, Maria. And obviously you are an environmental engineer, and you will know what is complex and what is not complex. You need to really have a good look in your experience and try to think a little bit more details of what you did in your experiences. And then you need to match with the competencies to see if you can address those competencies using your experience. Actually, in my mentoring, I've got a questionnaire where you ask yourself a few questions, and then you kind of can decide if the experience is good or not to be used in your career episode. But unfortunately, that's a decision that you have to make yourself. I've seen some cases that people thought that the experience was not complex enough, and they ended up writing, and Engineers Australia accepted. In other cases, people thought that they were complex enough, and Engineers Australia interpreted that was not complex enough. You got to remember that the assessor, they have different assessors, and one assessor can consider this as complex, other assessors may not consider as complex. So if you don't really have a lot of options, the maximum that you can do is to try, because if you don't try, it's 100% certainty that you're not going to get approval because you haven't applied. But if you do apply, then you've got some chances to get approved. This is if you don't really have a lot of experience. The other option that you can do is to forget about work experience. If your work experience is not really very complex, then I strongly encourage you to perhaps go back to your academic experience and then choose 3 experiences within your academic studies, and then write about a project that you did, an assignment that you did. Actually, one of my students, she's an environmental engineer as well, and she's writing about assignments that she did during the university. So one of them was kind of the design of a water treatment plant. So I'm pretty sure that you probably did something about that. So you could write of an assignment that you did, which will probably going to be easier for you to demonstrate the technical competencies. Okay. So keep going. So it's certainly very inspiring listening and watching Leila. And obviously, I thank her very much for the kind words, and congratulated her many times for her achievement. So it was very nice to see. She was my first student that got approved, and I was certainly very happy because I could see that the information that I'm sharing and my mentoring is actually working. Worked with me, worked with her, and also worked with another 7 people as well. So, and I'm sure that you guys who are listening here, her story, you guys are wishing her every success on this new journey of her life. And they are mirror, probably you guys are mirror to her situation too. You probably have doubts. You don't know how to start. You may have feeling insecurity. You may have fearing or investing the hard-earned money. Obviously, I was also an international student. I was earning, I think, $19-20 an hour, and I'm going to talk about soon about investment if you want to participate in my mentoring. And then you think, all right, yeah, I earn $20 an hour. I have to work this many hours to pay for this investment. I'm a bit worried. Obviously, you have all the right to be worried because it's hard to earn that money. I know that. But I had to put a fee because if it's for free, obviously people don't really care. And also, I ended up having to invest in machinery, equipment, software, subscriptions, and everything else. And I have to recoup some costs. But I can promise you, is going to be a fraction of what consultants and agents they charge around. I know because many people told me agents and consultants, they charge you anything between $4,000 and $7,000 for consulting services. And if I am to give consulting service, I'm probably going to even charge more because my hour, if I did that, it was going to be a little bit higher. But I don't do consulting services, so I don't charge that money. And remember the story that I told you about the 2 young men? So why is the difference between the two? So here's the thing. I believe it's not intelligence. It's not talent. It's not dedication. It's not the fact that one person wants it and the other doesn't want to. I'm talking about becoming the president of the company. Honestly, in my opinion, what makes a difference is there are reasonable people and unreasonable people. So 2 kinds of people, reasonable and unreasonable. And by my definition, a reasonable person is one who fails to follow his or her own instinct, who fails to take small steps towards their goal because it creates in your head a reason that prevents him or her from acting or you from acting. For example, for some people is the lack of time. For others is the lack of money. For others is the lack of approval of family, husband, wife, children, friends. For others it's fear. And for others is absolute certainty that they will not get the result they want to achieve. But on the other hand, there are unreasonable people. Unreasonable people are the ones who take small steps towards its objectives, despite all the reasons against. Even with the lack of time, even with the lack of money, even with the lack of approval, even though I'm scared or if you are scared, even though there was uncertainty about the outcome. And now I'm going to tell you a secret. The great differences that happen in the world were made by people who practice the unreasonable. And I'm sure that people that you admire are people who practiced the unreasonable. So think about, and every time that I speak about this and I read this story, I think about Neil Armstrong and the other man that went to the moon. Imagine the situation, 1969. NASA, and you are one of the astronauts and with the other astronauts. And then your mission is to get into a rocket that has tons and tons of liquid oxygen or fuel. And they say, we're going to kind of light up this rocket. You're going to be in the tip of this rocket that, by the way, can explode and can kill you. And we're going to send you outside of the Earth. And then you're going to go close to the moon. you're probably going to do 1 or 2 laps around, and then you're going to land on the moon. You're going to then open the door and you're going to collect some samples. And then you're going to get inside, fire the motors again, the rocket, and then you're going to come back to the Earth. But there's just a little bit of an issue. When you're entering the atmosphere, it could be a little bit hot, because when you enter the atmosphere, it's going to, because of the friction of air, whatever, you're going to have some friction and heat. By the way, the capsule can melt and then you can die, burnt. But we design everything is going to work. You're going to come and land. We're going to open the parachute, and then you're going to land on the sea, and we're going to catch you. So, do you think that they were reasonable or unreasonable? Saying, hey, yeah, I understand that. And, you know, I mean this. So, if you really think with your brain, you're probably going to say, sorry, but it's too much risky. I've got my family. I don't want to die. And those computers are not really, you know, that time, computers in 1969. So do you think that they were reasonable or unreasonable? In my view, I think they were very unreasonable. But they made history. But why I'm telling you this? Because I just opened registration for the next validation formula class. My online mentoring to teach you how to learn a structured method to validate your engineering degree in Australia. And a lot of people, they're against online training and mentoring, etc., etc. So that's why I say, if you are reasonable, you're probably not going to do. But if you are unreasonable, you're probably going to say, yes, enough of procrastination. I'm going to give the first step and I'm going to get it done. You may know, maybe not, but the Validation Forum is a mentoring program where I compile my experience of 26 years as an engineer and 14 years working as a recognized engineer here in Australia. My mentoring is a series of 25 modules in the style of video lessons with a total duration of approximately 9 hours. So I get every single of the 16 competencies, and each 16 competencies is one module. And I've got few modules, tutorials and explanations and everything. But I explain competency by competency, and I give a lot of examples what you can use to address those competencies. And those 9 hours, they are between videos and activities, and these modules cover the entire validation process. It's a whole new portal, validation formula portal, where my students, they have access to all of the videos and bonuses that I'm going to talk about. And there are several practical examples on how you can prepare your CDR in a solid and consistent way, substantially improving your chances of being approved by Engineers Australia. And does it mean it's unique? Even though I haven't seen anything like it, I don't really think it's unique. I still don't know any other mentoring program like mine. Does this mean it's the best? Well, not necessarily. There could be others, but I don't know. Is it guaranteed that your CDR will be approved by Engineers Australia? Unfortunately not, as assessment is based on your skills and in demonstrating the 16 competencies required by Engineers Australia. If you join my program but you don't really have the work experience, and if your academic experience is not good, obviously your experience is not going to be strong enough to be approved. So even though if you follow my methodology, because your experience is not correct, unfortunately, I cannot guarantee that. But if you have experience, academic, and if you were a good student, if you were a good student at uni, I'm pretty sure that you have very good academic experience that you can demonstrate in your career episodes. Even if you don't have good work experience or work experience that really fit with the definition. And obviously that you have had an active academic life and or work experience in the field. However, with the validation formula mentoring, you will learn how to make your CDR stronger and with much better chances of being approved by Engineers Australia. I've got 8 students that they followed, and some of them, they didn't really have good experiences, but they followed detail by detail my mentoring, and they've been approved. It's a proven method with my own approval, and now with the approval of other engineers, so another 8 engineers. So pretty much now it's 100 approval rate. I've got few other engineers that they applied already, but they're still waiting for the assessment. So what's the investment required to be part of the next class of my online mentoring program, Validation Formula? So am I going to talk now about the investment? Not quite yet. As I said before, I'm going to include 9 extra bonuses that will help you in the validation process and also in the search for a job in engineering or even in any other area. Because the tips that I'm going to give you guys for my students are for any professional looking for a job. So the 9 extra bonus number 1 is the VIP group in Telegram app. You'll be part of the VIP group on Telegram, where mentoring students can exchange experiences to enrich their content, and will have access to my mentoring for 1 year after joining the program. It's important to know that mentoring is not a review of documents. However, you can send me the reference letters and the CPD, and I will provide the feedback as a special bonus. The normal price is $550. You will get that for free. And why do I say that's not a revision process? Because I'm fairly confident that if you follow my mentoring, my instructions, my procedures, you don't need anybody to review your reports. Bonus number 2, an ebook, 7 tips for preparing the curriculum vitae, which if you follow the order or the procedures or the tips, it will make your CV stand out with more chances to be chosen by the recruitment panel. The normal price is $25. You get that for free. Bonus number 3, ebook 7 tips for preparing a cover letter. You will get my ebook, How to Make Your Cover Letter Stand Out and Improve Your Chances of Being Chosen for the Interview. Also, it's $25, but you get that for free. The other bonus 4, ebook 7 tips on how to behave in interviews. Knowing how to behave in professional interviews is essential, and with the 7 tips, you will increase your chance of being chosen as a candidate to be hired. Normal price is $25. You get that for free. Bonus number 5, question and answer sessions. I'll be promoting a question and answer session every 2 months, where validation formula students can participate for 12 months from the date of entry into the program. And during these live sessions, my students, they can ask about the content of the classes. Obviously, these sessions are not reviewing or providing feedback on career episodes or summary statement. And it's going to be about 90 minutes each of these question and answer sessions. The normal price is usually $150. You get that for free. And the next one I already booked is Saturday, the 20th of February. I'm going to do a question and answer session. So it means that if you join my program this week, you can already attend the next live session, which is going to be Saturday, the 20th of February. Bonus number 6, skeleton action plan using 5W and 2H methodology. And using this action plan, it will guide you on the CDR preparation journey in only 30 days after the end of the 25 modules. I actually have one student that she prepared everything in 2.5 weeks, Duda, because she needed to finish everything because of a visa renewal. So she finished everything in 2.5 weeks. The normal price is $25. You get that for free. Bonus number 7, compilation and feedback. And this is one of the most important bonus, because this document, it's a 13 pages document where I compiled all the feedbacks and comments that I provided to my students. So it's got all the mistakes and all the good things that they did. So if you read all that document, it will help you to prevent a lot of mistakes. So very, very important document. So validation formula students have access to a preview of a compilation of comments and feedbacks that I provided to some students. You cannot download this document because of copyright reasons, but you can view this in the portal. So this will help you to avoid some of the mistakes, saving you time, effort, and money, and obviously saving frustration. Normal price is $200. You get that for free. Bonus number 8, Career Episode Planning and Summary Statement Assistant. It's an Excel planning tool that contains the Summary Statement Assistant, the Academic and Work Experience Planner, and the checklist of the 16 competencies. So it's a very long spreadsheet where it will help you with the planning. As I said in the beginning, the validation process is all about planning and preparation. And with this Excel spreadsheet that I put together, while you're watching the classes, you can fill out the spreadsheet. It will help you, 1, not to forget what you need to do. 2, it will keep records of your experiences. And 3, it will help you to organize your career episodes and will help you to organize your summary statement. I actually have even tutorials where I explain how you need to fill and do your planning. Normal price is $100. You get that for free. And the last bonus is meeting of all validation formula students. I'll be promoting a meeting session inviting all students of the validation formula to exchange their experiences, sharing what worked and what didn't work very well, to foster a sense of community. Where to get farther, you don't go alone, but you go accompanied. And these meeting sessions will be promoted via live webinar like this twice a year. So I've done one already in the beginning of the year. I'm going to do another one this year. The normal price is $200. You get that for free. So if you add up all of these bonuses, the total amount is $1,300 just in bonus. But you get that for free. You don't need to pay $1,300. It's for free. And when you think of the benefits of having a structural method that is based on experience, that will save you time in preparing the CDR by being structured. And this may be the difference between being able to apply for a future visa or not. For example, Duda and for example, Erica and Layla, they couldn't apply without having the validation. And considering that the costs in the market, according to some engineers who quoted with consultants and agents, can reach something, as I said, between $4,000 and $7,000. And take into account that if you get recognition of your engineering profession, can give you a chance to get a job like Rolf. Rolf, when he called me that he got validated, he also said that because he got validated, he got a job as a mechanical engineer. So obviously he didn't tell me what was his salary, but even a graduate engineer will get a salary of at least $50,000 to $60,000 a year. But can give you a $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, $100,000 a year and for several years, depending on your experience. But I know that many people can't immediately afford $4,000, $7,000 to pay a consultant. And you guys still need to do the validation. So what I propose to do, being that the goal is to help you to get validated, to achieve your life transformation. Remember, guys, the validation process is not just a process. It's the beginning of your life transformation, as it was for me. My life transformation here in Australia, it started with my validation. If I haven't validated at that time, I wouldn't really be able to apply for my visa. And if I didn't get my visa, I wouldn't really be able to live here in Australia. I couldn't really live forever as a student. So the investment for you to secure a place in the next class of the validation formula is going to be just $847. So just $847. It's a really great opportunity to begin your journey towards validating your engineering degree in Australia. But for the first 20 students in this class, I'm going to do something really, really better for you. The offer content worth between $4,000 and $7,000 in the market, offer for a much lower value, a real win-win strategy. You help me to form the next class, and I help with an offer that can't really be declined. If you're one of the first 20 students in this class, I'll make a value of only $697. It's $150 discount. Yes, you heard very well. $697, which is less than 10% of what consultants could charge you. that's for the first 20 students in this validation formula class. So be quick and enjoy. If the price on my website is already $847, so the promotion for the first 20 students is over. It means that more than 20 students have already enrolled. And don't forget the massive 9 extra bonuses. And I'm going to give you another offer just in this webinar. So honestly, only these bonuses are already $1,300, almost double of the amount you invest in the online mentoring program, if you were one of the first 20 students. But if you're watching this video right now in the webinar, I'm going to give you a webinar offer, $647 until 9 a.m. on Monday. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., I'm going to end this webinar offer. So because you guys staying with me for like 2 hours and 12 minutes already, until 9 a.m. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to give you guys $200 discount until 9 a.m. on Monday. And if you go to my website, 901, it's probably going to be $697. And if you wait a little bit more, because then tomorrow I'm going to send an email to my list, 2016 people, saying that I've got this special offer for the first 20. If other people they buy, and if you wait too much, it could be $847 already for after the 20 students. So if you're already excited about the online mentoring program and the webinar offer and the 9 extra bonuses, I'm going to tell you about the warranty for this mentoring. Because you could be thinking, oh yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to invest $647 now. But in the first 30 days, if you have had no benefit through the validation formula and my mentoring on Telegram, if you watched all the classes in the portal, if you participated in my validation VIP group in Telegram, and if you think that you haven't got any improvement in providing a learning for the stronger CDR application, you just need to send me an email with a copy of your CDR to at least demonstrate that you tried to prepare the documentation, and saying that the classes and the mentoring didn't really add any value to the application, and now we'll return 100% of the amount paid for the validation formula. So if you paid $647, I will refund $647. Even though PayPal, they charge me a fee, I'm not going to even discount the fee. It means I'll get a loss, but that's all right. I have really trust in my mentoring that it will help you to have a very stronger CDR. And that's it. It means that you are not at any risk. It's simple as that. So start your dream transformation into reality by being recognized as an engineering professional in Australia. And with just an investment of $647 until 9 a.m. tomorrow, Monday, Brisbane time, that's a webinar offer. Or if you access after 9 a.m. tomorrow, it's going to be $697 for the first 20 students. And if the website is $847, it means that you missed out the discount. You can still participate, but you missed out the discount. So the opportunity will be closing on Sunday next week, 14th of February. I'm just going to be opening the enrollments for 1 week. And why is that? Because already the Saturday after, I've got already a question and answer session. So I got to close the enrollments on the Sunday so I can then do the system. I need to enroll the guys, and I've got to send emails welcoming with the password and everything, and take some time. And the 16th of February, the classes will be available, and the bonuses are going to be available as well. I'm just going to show you guys my website with the site, so you guys can have a look. I'm just going to do quickly. Where's that my website? Where is that? I don't really have it. So I'm not quite sure. No, it's not there. Sorry guys, where's my browser? Yeah. No, cancel. No, it's not that one there. Hey, what happened? No, it's not that one there. Oh, how do I undo that? Oh no, I did something bad because I ended up sorry guys, add existing PowerPoint. Yeah, I'm not quite sure how I do this. Just trying to show my website. So it's probably display capture. Yeah, I'll try this. So it's going to be display number 2, and I'm going to send this to display number 2. Yeah, so I think now it works. So when you go to my website, you go to validation formula, so engineersinaustralia.com, you go to validation formula in the menu, and then there's my website. So I explain everything about there's a video. If you want to rewatch this video, it's going to be there. There's a video in Portuguese, and there's a video in English, and then you can buy it now. And you can actually pay in installments, because some people, they ask me, oh Jers, I don't really have the money now, can I pay in installments? So you can pay in 3 installments. The only thing that when you pay in 3 installments, you don't really have the webinar offer, and it adds up another $50. But you can click here, and then it will open up a page. It will open up a page, so you can request the installments, and then I will send you an invoice. And that's it. And so explain all the 9 bonuses are there. You can watch the testimonies, and these are the bonuses here in a little bit more details: the question and answers, the VIP group, the ebooks, the comments and feedback, the action plan, the catch-up sessions with the validation formula students, and summary statement assistant, and information about the warranty. And some people, I've got some partners with migration agents that they have a discount coupon. All right, so what I'll do, yeah, that's, how do I do this? Display capture or window capture? I think it's this one. Yeah. All right, so what else do I need to explain to you guys? So don't waste time and secure a place with this irresistible offer. The video lessons will be available from February 16. And right now you have the chance to enroll in this class and be one of the first 20 students and have access to this special offer. And remember that the enrollments are going to be closed on the 14th of February. And the special offer, the 20 students, can end at any time. So be quick and don't miss the opportunity. If you're really thinking to participate, please act very quickly, so you don't really pay $847. And if you have any question, send me a message in Instagram, in the direct message or messenger, or send me an email, or even in the Telegram. And remember that I will send the email to my list of 2015 people, so those 20 places can go really, really quick. And don't say that I didn't warn you. And believe it or not, all you need to do is to beat procrastination and take a small step towards your goal. And I've got some people that they told me that they enough of procrastination, and they gotta, I think the migration agent told them, you gotta stop procrastinating and you gotta do it. If you don't do it, you will still keep doing renewing the visa and studying and etc., etc., etc. So I know that's hard, but yeah. So between you and me, I know you want to validate your engineering degree. If you didn't want to, you probably would have already removed yourself from my mailing list a long time ago, because I send a lot of emails. If you don't want to validate, you probably would have hit the unsubscribe button and don't receive my emails. But if you're still receiving my emails, it's because you still want to validate. Perhaps the time is not now. And I'll tell you, if your priority is not the validation, please don't sign up. If you sign up, it means to me that you're really committed and my mentoring is going to help you. And I need that feedback from you. But if you're not committed, if validation is not a priority, I'm asking you, don't sign up. I don't want members in my mentoring just to be a number, because the money, yeah, it covers my cost. But if you stay in my mentoring and if you don't do anything, it's not good for me, because, I will be thinking about you. I will be asking you. I will be wasting my time asking you and offering help, etc., etc. So if you're not really committed, if it's not a priority, don't sign up now. My mentoring program, I don't know if I'm going to open another group or not, depending on the interest. But if I do, you will have the option to sign up in the future. But if the validation is a priority, and if you're really committed, please sign up now. A lot of things and a lot of people, I get a lot of messages of people that, and there are people that can do by themselves, like I did. And that's good. Yeah, if you do by yourself, that's fine. But there are people that are not 100% sure what needs to be done. Some people, they have an idea, but they're a bit reluctant to join my mentoring. And then what they did, I've got many people. They wrote everything by themselves. They prepared everything by themselves. They submitted to Engineers Australia. They got a negative feedback. And then they rang me saying, Jerson, can you help me to fix my application? I'll pay you. And I say, sorry, but I don't provide consulting services. And if you are willing to pay me now, why didn't you pay for the consultancy? For the mentoring. Because the consultancy is going to cost you $3,000, $4,000, even $7,000. Why didn't you pay $647 and avoid everything? Because I'm pretty sure that I can teach you how to prepare your CDR, a very strong CDR. So if you are confident, go for it. Do it by yourself. But if you're not quite sure, either you study a little bit more until you get comfortable, or you join my mentoring now. Because if you do by yourself and after you get a negative feedback, if you ring me, I will not help you because I don't have time. I would love to help everybody that rings me, but I don't have time, and I'm not going to commit myself to help somebody if I don't have time. And I can earn a lot of money, then I can make real money. I can charge $5,000, $6,000 each one, and I refused already about 40 requests. I could have made $250,000 in these 2 years, but I didn't because I don't have time. I work full time. I've got my wife, my daughter, the house to look after. I've got my social life as well. And I've got this project. And I decided to dedicate a good part of my spare time in this project. And the mentoring was just because I refused consulting. A lot of people asked me, Jerson, please do something else because I still need your help. And then, all right, I'll do something that I can afford and you guys can afford as well. But being recognized as an engineer, as I said, is not for anyone. Being recognized is for the unreasonable. My wife and I were unreasonable back in 2005. We dropped everything. We had really great jobs. Our comfortable life, family, friends, perks, and we came here. We clean toilets, clean floors, wash dishes, served as waiters, and as I said before, there's nothing wrong with that. And I don't think we were very reasonable. At least our families didn't think we were reasonable. When our families, they found out that we were cleaning toilets and everything else, they were saying, oh, you're crazy. You had a very good life here. Why are you now in Australia cleaning toilets? But they didn't really know what Australia could offer us. But today we know that if we had been reasonable, if in Brazil we thought, oh yeah, no, yeah, we're good here, we would be probably in the same situation till this day or even worse. Pretty much the same. So think about the big changes you've made in your life until today. Should being unreasonable be a common term between them? Most of the people I talked to, they say yes, they were unreasonable. And if you left your country and came to Australia, I think you are unreasonable already, because you pretty much probably dropped everything behind. And I'm giving you this opportunity now. Don't miss the opportunity to be one of the first 20 students of the validation formula and secure your seat not by pay $847, but only for $697 for the first 20 students. And if you purchase until tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., you get a further $50 discount. You pay just $647. And that includes the 9 bonuses: the VIP group, the ebook with the CV, ebook with the cover letter, ebook with the professional interview tips, the live Q&A sessions, action plan, the view of the compilation and comments feedback with 13 pages that you will see everything that I wrote about the comments and feedback that I gave to my students, the career episode planning tool and summary statement assistant, and the catch-up session with the validation students. And this opportunity ends next Sunday, February 14th, midnight. So you visit my website, Engineers Australia, as I showed you. You go to the validation formula menu and enroll in the next validation formula class. So click the button on the page on my website and sign up. And now I said option of the 3 payments, but in one payment comes out $50 cheaper. So if you pay in 3 installments, it's going to be $50 more expensive, and it doesn't cover the webinar offer. Be unreasonable. Make it happen. And a legend says that one of the greatest pains of those who are on the deathbed is regret. And I believe it's very difficult to find someone at the end of life who feels sorry to have been unreasonable. Most people regret that they were not unreasonable enough when they were given the opportunity. Think about it. I would like to thank you guys very much. I'm going to open for question and answers if you have. May God bless you, and I'll see you in the video classes of the validation formula starting on the 16th of February. So I'm going back to my camera. Where's my camera here? So that's the Zoom window. Where's my camera? I got to stop sharing, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, where is that? Zoom window. Where's my camera? Zoom meeting. Oh yeah, here, sorry. So, do you guys have any questions? I think there is a question here in Facebook. Eber was asking, does Engineers Australia consider work experience as technical assistant, analyst, or supervisor? Yeah, work experience, there are some different types of work experience. Some work experience, they are after graduation. Some work experience are during graduation. So you need to kind of, I don't know those details, but if you did as part of your graduation, depends then obviously what you did as part of your work experience. So the answer is depends. Engineers Australia may consider work experience as a professional engineer, depending on what you did. So it all depends. The content, you got to remember that it's the content that will dictate the category, if it is a professional engineer, if it was engineering technologist, or if it was engineering associate. I'll see. Yeah, there is another question in Zoom from Carol. I'm graduated in electronic engineering. Can I apply for a skills assessment as industrial engineering? Again, Carol, that will depend on what you're going to write. So when you write your career episode, you need to see what was your experience. If your experience is different from your graduation, but they are close related, then Engineers Australia, they usually accept. But I've seen cases that they are mechanical engineers, and for some whatever reason, their work experience was as a structural engineer. In this case, it's going to be a little bit more difficult because they're not really close related. For you to do structural design, you need to do some subjects that you probably don't really see in mechanical engineering, especially because in mechanical engineering, you have usually dynamics, and civil engineering usually is static. So there's a fundamental difference in that. But electronics and industrial engineering can be somehow correlated. So it's going to depend on the content of your experience. Simone, she has 2 questions. Yeah, thanks, Simone. Thanks for hard work. I have 2 questions. That's fine. Thanks for the feedback, Simone. How long is the mentoring? And can we mix career episodes with work experience and academic? Well, the mentoring is going to be 12 months. You can have access to the mentoring program for 12 months. On the website, if you take longer, and why is 12 months? Because I think that 12 months is already enough time for you to do everything. Most of people, they do between 3 and 6 months. Unless it's not your priority and then you don't really do anything for the first 9 months, then you're going to take 12 months. But you have access for 12 months. If you, for some whatever reason, you don't really finish in 12 months, you can renew your access. Is $70 per month that you can then renew the access to the portal. And can we mix career episodes with work experience and academic? Well, if you have 3 career episodes, you can mix 1 career episode using academic, 2 career episodes using work experience. You can have then 2 career episodes using academic experience. You can have 1 career episode using work experience, or you can have the 3 academic or the 3 work. I don't really recommend you to do in the same career episode mixing work and experience, because you have to choose 1 project, 1 problem, or 1 task. And it's going to be difficult for you to find a task that kind of is work and academic, because, if it is work, it means that it's after you graduated. If it's academic, it's before you graduated. But you can mix the 3 career episodes, 1 just writing about academic and the other 2 about work, or vice versa. Everton is asking, actually, I'm working as industrial engineer, but my graduation is mechanic. Can I apply for an industrial engineer instead? Again, similar to electronics and industrial, I believe that mechanical and industrial, they're very close related. And if you have experience as industrial engineer, again, as long as you follow the ANZ SEO occupation definition, I've got actually 1 module that in my mentoring that talks about the ANZ SEO and how you should choose your experience. But if your experience as industrial engineer, Everton, matches with the definition of the ANZ SEO definition, yes, even though your bachelor degree is mechanical, but your experience is as industrial, you can then apply for industrial engineer. Maria is asking, hi Jess, about the IELTS test. Can I use academic IELTS or need to be just a general one? That's a good question, Maria. I'm going to actually check the booklet. I don't really know everything in the top of my head, but I think you can. It says here, Engineers Australia accepts both the general and academic version of the test. So good news is yes, you can. So if you have the academic IELTS already, you can use that as long as it's within the 2 years validity period. So when you apply, cannot be more than 2 years old. And Maria is still asking, I may not have any complex things, but I could secure that the companies were not damaging the environment. In my case, that can count on the Engineers Australia eyes. Yeah, you are environmental engineer. Yeah, that's a difficult question because obviously I don't really know the content of your experience, but a lot of my students, they didn't really have complex experiences, but part of the mentoring is myself giving ideas when you describe the issue, for me to give ideas. Have you done this? Perhaps think about a time that you've done this around that situation, and that could be a little bit more complex. Sometimes you think that the experience that you did is not complex or was not complex, but because I've done so many revisions and comments and feedback, I can see things that sometimes people, they can't. And then perhaps an experience that perhaps it doesn't look complex, but it could have a complex element, in that experience. All right, I think I don't really have any other question. And I'd like to certainly thank you very much, guys. It's 2 hours and 30 minutes that you guys are with me. You guys are heroes. And if you have any other questions, tonight, 8:30 p.m., I'm going to do the Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube live session. And I'm going to also answer some questions that I received about the workshop. And if you have any question about the mentoring or any other question about the validation process, you can attend the live session, 8:30 p.m. Brisbane time, and we can have another catch up. So just going to check the chat. It's all good. No more question. And so that's all right. So I'm going to do a little bit of editing, and I'm going to place a replay in the validation formula website. So if you want to have a look again about the mentoring program, is going to be there pretty soon. All right, thank you very much, guys. I appreciate your attendance, and if you have any questions, send me a direct message, messenger, or email, or in the Telegram group, send me a question there. Thank you very much, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.